In a world where social media is designed on the same principle as Las Vegas slot machines, I wanted to talk about live theater. And in particular, in Austin, the Austin theater world, the value and education purposes behind theater, and just all things theater. And, as a sanctuary, as a place for getting emotional connection with something happening right in front of you with real human beings, interpersonal connection, just all these things. So I brought on today, we have Cyndy Florez, the education coordinator for Austin Shakespeare, to talk about their education programs, the value of theater, all these great things. I'm on the board of Austin Shakespeare. And to bring you in and to talk about this first, I wanted to mention the Timothée Chalamet interview, because a lot of people have been talking about it. He does not mention specifically theater, but he does mention, or excuse me, he mentions ballet and opera. He does not mention theater or Shakespeare or anything like that, but I think it's in the same vein of what he's talking about, which is he's in movies. He makes the reference of, he wants, if people want to go see Barbie, if they want to go see Oppenheimer, great. He doesn't want to be in the business of trying to convince people to go see this thing that, as he puts it, quote unquote, no one cares about.
I don't want to speak for people that are here that are younger than me, where people are desiring things that are more patient and that pull you in. I just saw another article that says Gen Z is a bigger movie-going audience than the millennial audience, I feel like a fucking grandpa saying that. And, no, but point being, I think even like Frankenstein, which was like a hugely popular movie this year, I didn't think that pacing was extraordinarily fast or anything, but it pulled people in, But it does take you having to wave a flag of, hey, this is a serious movie or something. And some people want to be entertained and quickly. I'm really right in the middle, Matthew, because I admire people, and I've done it myself, to go on a talk show and go, hey, we got to keep movie theaters alive. We got to keep this genre alive. And another part of me feels like if people want to see it, like Barbie, like Oppenheimer, they're going to go see it and go out of their way to be loud and proud about it. And I don't want to be working in ballet or opera or, things where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about this anymore. All respect to the ballet and opera people out there. I just lost 14 cents in viewership. But, damn, I just took shots for no reason.
That's not a shot. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
And of course, this lit up, a lot of people, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. We could talk about that, and then we'll jump into your background and all the cool things that Austin Shakespeare is doing.
Well, it's an interesting comment, isn't it? And I think in a way that he has put a fire under ballet and opera, and they are suddenly at the forefront of our thought processes in the social media and the rest of the world. Certainly my news feed is filled with new videos about the opera, what's happening in London, what's happening in New York. And I get all kinds of videos about, watch this girl do this jeté and watch this gentleman, how many pirouettes can he do? So I think that in a way he has sparked them a little bit and brought all of our attention to these great art forms, because I do think they're great art forms. And maybe he knows this, maybe he doesn't know this, I don't know, but everything's derivative. I'm sorry, film, television, it's all derivative from these art forms, right?
Sure.
Certainly ballet and opera have contributed to film and television, and all those directors and actors draw on those, whether they even know it or not, whether they're even conscious of it. So I'm excited that he actually made the comment.
Yeah.
So what is it? There's no bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity. So I think he's brought a lot of publicity to those two art forms, and I'm excited for what that might do for them.
Yeah, and it's interesting. One, I have to point out, I think he's like 25 or something like that.
Right.
So
He's
he is
young.
a kid.
Yeah.
And he's a big movie star. So it's like, he's been a movie star since he was very young. So but I get what he's trying to say. And I think it is. So what I hear you saying that I think is great is it's kind of put a fire under these ballet and opera to kind of try to remind people of the value that they offer.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, there's also this element that is interesting about, because movies do seem to be going in that direction to some degree. Like more people are watching television than going, especially in terms of movie theaters.
Right.
Like people are not going into movie theaters. I think that's the context of what he and Matthew McConaughey were talking about was like, what do we do with movie theaters? What if they quote unquote go the way of ballet in a sense? I think is what they're thinking of.
Oh,
I think that's the context, if I understand what he's saying.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to be in an industry where you have to fight to get people to attend if they want to go to. But I think the broader context is like, well, how do you create things that does attract people, right? That people want to see, that they're engaged with, and that more importantly brings an important value to them, right? That brings some kind of value to them. And I don't know what you think about that as an idea.
Oh, I think it's very important. And we do have to think about it in our art forms. We do, the audience is vital. The communication that we're sending out, if we don't get a physical response from what we're putting out there, somehow our art form is being created in a vacuum. And I think maybe that's what he was trying to talk about, is that, are we creating art films that are just in a vacuum that people just see in their homes, and we don't get a response from them? We don't understand what it's like to be with them as they're watching and taking this art form in, and what it happens to them viscerally, because we don't. When you're in a theater with a lot of people watching a film, watching the ballet, whatever it is that you're watching, you are a part of that collective, that community in that moment, and you're sharing this experience together. And in that shared experience, somehow I think that changes the world a little bit. We take in a message, a communication that someone has put together for us, and we've all ingested it, and we can all have a conversation about it or let it inform our lives in some way. And maybe we even somehow come together in our minds because we have shared that shared experience. So I think it's very important. How do we do that? How do we keep people coming in? What's the hook? I guess is a good question. Yes. How do we do that? Because it's hard to fight the gravity of sitting in your, your lazy boy, or you're curled up on your couch, or laying in your bed watching your computer. It's hard to pull people away from that. But I think there's value in it for humanity. We need to be people that have a shared mind experience, a community experience, to be able to understand each other and then understand other parts of the world. I think it feeds into a lot of miscommunication if we don't, as we look at the geopolitical situations that we're all facing right now.
Tribal, like being disconnected from each other.
Being so disconnected,
And, one of the things, I think you mentioned something that made me think of, so there's like the interaction you get when you are getting audience feedback is in live theater. In movie theaters, people will sometimes go in and kind of survey the audience and look at them, and that will help the kinds of movies you create, or the kinds of interpretations of Julius Caesar you might do, or Much Ado, or things like that. Like that, it might be informed by actual audience, experience and connection with people. And I just had to point this out about one of the interesting things about TV and movie watching at home is actually they do get a lot of information, especially something like Netflix, but it's a very different kind of information.
Yes.
And I think this gets at a core thing about the value of the live experience as the great experience that I hope we will more return to as individuals and a society. But what they get in like Netflix, like I saw an interview with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck where they were talking about their movie, The Rip, which they had on Netflix. Have you seen this interview?
I've not seen the interview, but I've heard about this.
Yeah, they were talking about how Netflix was giving them notes because Netflix has such precise data. Like they have second by second data on when people are, dropping off, when they're not watching, when they're, changing the channel, just anything, right? Like, and so they say, well, at the 7.3 second mark, you really need to reiterate the plot or something like that. Like and they have it really down to that. And they were keep putting that onto these creators to try and do that. Which is something, I don't know that there's anything innately wrong with it, but it was because they were competing with phones in the house, right? That's the competition for Netflix. It's like when you're at Netflix, it's, if something gets boring for 2 seconds on a movie or something, you're like, your phone comes out, right? And you have to do that. So TV shows and movies are constantly trying to battle with your attention to get that.
Sure.
One of the great things about movies is that you're shamed if you bring out your phone, right? People will be like, put your phone away. And they tell you, put your phone away at the beginning. So you do have this collective experience of watching something with other people. Comedies are way funnier in theaters, I think.
Oh, of course.
Right? Because
yes.
someone else laughs. You may not have laughed at home by yourself.
Right.
But you laugh because everyone laughs. I remember some of the hardest times I've ever laughed was watching a movie in a theater with other people.
Yeah.
The only times I've laughed really hard is with other people. I've never like just belly laughed all by myself at my house. No.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just
Right.
gone crazy. And I think theater falls into that same kind of thing. It's like, and local theater is a way to connect to people in your community, to meet new people and to have the same experience. And then hopefully discuss it with, with people in that. So I don't know what you think about that.
I do. I think that's amazing. I think you said something really interesting about that you haven't laughed as hard as you laugh when you're with somebody. And I don't think you feel a lot of things as much as intensely or as richly as you do when it's a shared experience. I think there's something about that human interaction and that connection that we share. Just like you and I'm listening to you and you're laughing and it makes me laugh because I connect with it and something in my collective mind or whatever.
Yeah.
So yes, we don't want to lose those human experiences. I guess I'm afraid of that. That's my fear, is that we will lose those kinds of connections with each other that make us human, that make us
we are kind of losing it.
Yeah, and that we appreciate each other for our individual responses. And what a great thing to be in a theater and hear some wacky laugh. Someone, someone laugh and maybe I wasn't laughing at what the content was, but that person's response warmed me. Yeah. And I could respond in kind. And I love to be in the theater or in the ballet and someone in front of me starts to cry. It's very moving to me. I pick up on that emotion and I think, wow, I wonder what happened to this person in that moment with that ballet expression that caused them to have that emotional response. And I began to look at the ballet a little differently at that moment. It was like, whoa, did I miss something? So, so I think that's really important as another thing to understand these deep emotional responses that we have to things in the world, to have feeling again, because I think we get
connected feeling.
Yeah, connected feeling. Because I think it's like Pink Floyd said, we're a little comfortably numb, aren't we?
I think so. Yeah. And there's a lot of dystopian novels about this kind of this kind of disconnect, I think. Yeah. This is the last thing I wanted to say on this. I promise we'll get into your topic, but I find this fascinating.
Me too.
To talk about this. Well, when I've read about the introduction of theater in humanity, like ancient Greece, the way that I once read it from an anthropologist, what was really invented was the audience. The audience was an invention in the sense that most communal, tribes, everyone kind of performed the art. That's the way it generally is anthropologically. What was really unique was having a set of people sit together, watch and contemplate together the same thing. And, Aristotle in Poetics calls it like having a catharsis, a purging, different kinds of emotions, but it's also the emotions you have together. So my point is that there's just the roots of theater and the roots of all these things is the audience experience together watching something. If it's a movie, great. But I think what I'm focused on right now is just that audience experience together. And there is something very important and powerful and community building in that. I don't know how you even have a community if there's not some shared emotional connection value system on the most basic level, something.
Right.
You have to have I don't know what it is if you don't have something you've all shared together.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I travel this time of the year to a lot of small schools in Texas to watch play contests. And it is amazing to see the turnout of the community
Yeah.
to this, that like this, maybe this is the only piece of theater this tiny, small community has all year long, but they are all invested in it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, that's
have
cool.
been, they have been involved in some way as a family member, as someone who helped build the set, or someone who built the costumes for them, or is running the concession stand out front. Do you know what I'm saying? So they're
It's a
all
big part of-
involved.
yeah.
It's a big part of the community. It's like, oh, we support the football team, and right now we're all going to support this play. We're all going to go out here and get behind these kids because they're going to do a play.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing. And Texas, I don't know if we're unique in that regard, but that this time of the year, it is amazing to me that all these tiny communities in Texas are doing that.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's a very cool thing.
Yeah, so I do want to get into now. That's a good bridge for your background.
Oh, okay.
And like what you've done at so you spend some of your career at the Houston Academy of the Arts, Houston High School
for Performing Arts.
For Performing Arts,
yes,
for Performing Arts. So I'm curious, like, tell me a little bit about what you did there. I know it's a renowned school for performing arts. So I didn't go to a performing arts high school. I went to a college and I studied film and theater production. My focus was more film though, to be honest, but I was glad to be introduced to the, theater world there. But I didn't go to any kind of performing arts. So to me, like, I'm curious what that's even like. Just your experiences as a teacher there.
Great. Yes. Well, I started my career in regular high schools. So I've been in regular comprehensive high schools and spent a bulk of my career teaching, kids in public schools. And so to get this opportunity to go to this school, even though it is a public school, it feels very much like a small college or university. Where everyone auditions to get in, and they have to maintain, a certain standard of production in their selected art areas to remain in the school. And it's combined with
to remain.
Yes, you have to meet certain standards at the end of every year to remain in the school.
They don't even do that in college.
Well, they
impressive.
don't. Yeah, they don't. I think this is also combined with their academic work. They also have to meet all academic standards at the same time. So it is a very demanding community. It's small, but it's supremely intense.
Yeah.
So kids are very devoted to it, and I was the chair of the theater department for 14 years there. And so I managed every year about 100 to 120 kids, just depending upon the numbers that year. When we were now they have more numbers because they moved into a big state-of-the-art building, but I was in it was a very tiny school in the Montrose area in Houston, and it was very loved by the community. So again, I think that theater and performing arts are really, supported by the community, and we were very loved in that community, and people really cherished our work there, and we felt very much a part of it. And so I ran that department. I had those students. I had 6 full-time staff members when I left, including myself, and anywhere from 12 to 15 supplementary master teachers, consultants who came in during the year. Yes, guest artists. So it was an incredible experience. It's very impressive. We had 3 areas of focus: performance, acting, and performance musical theater, and technology and design. And under technology and design, there was also stage management. So kids could focus in all of those, could choose a focus for their last 2 years. They came in and learned all the basics about all areas. And then in the last 2 years, I could declare a major, as we would call it. They declared their major for the last 2 years.
Okay, and that would be like acting or stage or stage design or
acting or musical theater or design and technology.
Design and technology. Okay. So one of my questions was, but I think you've already answered it. But I'm just curious if you had something to add. So in your time there, and because you worked with kids there a lot, but what do you think made it special? Like what did make that special in general as an experience for you and the kids? But
for me and the kids,
you kind of already answered this, but I'm curious if you have anything else to add.
Well, no, it's okay. I'll answer a little. Yeah, no, it's special. They have to audition to get in, and they have to have a passion to stay.
Yeah, so
that's it. Yeah. And so it's not that I had any kids that were even any more talented than than the kids I had in comprehensive high school, because those talented kids are there. It's just that I had all of the kids were that. They all brought these special gifts into the space. And the other thing about it is that, like we were talking about earlier, the theater kids could watch what the dance kids were doing, and the dance kids could see what the jazz players were doing, and the jazz players could work with creative writers, and there was all this interaction, the community, I think, and how they supported each other and how they were able to learn from each other, and that is really special to see how that worked. And not only on an academic or art level, but also on a personal level. I think these kids go on to continue to work with each other in their professional careers. So I see that all the time, that there's an actor working with a jazz musician, or there's a pianist who later becomes a writer, and all these things. That's happening with those students out there. So the graduates of that school.
Yeah, but that continual having to work for it, not just you get in and you're done.
Yeah,
and you can coast if you want.
Right. No, that didn't happen. No.
And I think a lot of colleges are like that, where the hard part is getting in.
Yes.
And sometimes I didn't go to an Ivy League, but I've even heard this about Harvard and Ivy League schools, where it's just, if you can get in, you're probably good at that point. I don't know if that's true, but
I would say so. Yeah. Unless you just really don't.
Yeah, you can
deliver.
definitely screw it up. But you can do that anywhere,
right?
I think. But yeah. So now you went from there to education coordinator. Like, did you move here from there?
Yeah, or? I left there and came to Austin in 2017. And I didn't work for a couple of years. I took a couple of years off. That was a very excruciating job. It was, fundraising and coordinating and doing all the things. It was a year-round job in a way. It really was. It was very exhausting. And so I took a couple of years off when I came, and then I slowly found my way into the Austin theater scene.
Okay.
I started at McCallum at their Fine Arts Academy. I guest directed some shows and did some master classes there. And then from that, I got a connection to the Zach Acting Conservatory for students. And I began teaching with them, and I'm still teaching with them. And then from there, I made a connection with Austin Shakespeare. And so here I am. So I'm doing all the things. Yes, all those things. So I feel like I have my fingers in a lot of things in Austin. So I do many things. Yeah, not just the one. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, all theater related.
All related to theater.
All related to theater.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
theater's always the through line.
Yeah, theater education.
And theater education.
Yeah.
Okay, so for Austin Shakespeare, you're working with mostly the young kids. Is mostly where you're spending your time.
Yes.
So obviously you taught high school, you taught performing arts. What are some things that you bring? Because Austin Shakespeare is different.
Yes.
In many ways than what you just mentioned. We could talk about, why don't we talk for a minute about the upcoming performance, Merchant of Venice, correct?
Right.
Is that so?
That's correct.
So that's Young Shakespeare.
Yes.
So why don't let me hear a little bit more about what Young Shakespeare is. And my follow-up question generally is, what makes Austin Shakespeare a little bit different than what you did before? And what do you bring from your previous experiences into this unique area?
Okay. What makes it different is that for Young Shakespeare, the students come from all over the city, and I only have them for a very 4 short weeks before the show opens. And so I don't know what kinds of experience they're going to bring. So I get a brief audition from them, and we cast them, and we go into rehearsals, and it's intense. And then we produce what we produce. So whereas when I was in Houston, I trained those kids for years, and I had them at least for months before they were in any sort of production or anything. So that's the difference, is that they come with their passion to Austin Shakespeare, their passion for Shakespeare, their passion for performance. And I try to bring them all together and create an experience for them that's beneficial on all those levels for each of them. So that's how they're different. What I like to think I'm doing is that every experience I've had in the past somehow informs me to make good choices with the group that I have.
Mhm.
So I rely a lot on what I've experienced with other students from comprehensive schools and from Houston Performing Arts School, from the work I do outside with the play festivals. I try to bring those experiences with me and say, what can I draw on from there to help this show grow?
Mhm.
So that's kind of what I do. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for Merchant of Venice, I'm really digging deep because it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me, I think, which I
Okay.
love. That's the
Why is
other
that?
thing. That's the other thing that Austin Shakespeare does for me is it challenges me.
Huh.
It
Okay.
gets me out of a comfort zone. Like, oh, I've already done this. Oh, I've already done this. No, I've not already. I may have done that play, but I've not done it under these circumstances with these kids,
Oh, okay.
with
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So it's a challenge.
It's a new-
and
yeah.
I love that challenge. I love that I'm still growing and learning
Yeah.
as an artist myself.
Yeah.
So that's lovely I love that experience with them.
And you're in rehearsal process now.
No, I start May 18th. We start May 18th.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
For Merchant.
For the Merchant of Venice. Yeah.
Oh, you start in May. I thought isn't something in rehearsal at Austin
Yeah,
Shakespeare?
Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, because that comes first in terms of performance.
Yeah, that's an adult performance for Zilker.
Yeah, that's at Zilker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So are you auditioning currently, or have you already?
We've had two rounds of live auditions, and we're currently still accepting video auditions until May 10th.
Oh, wow.
So we're
Okay.
still
So people see this and you have
Yes,
a teen.
yes.
It's 11 years old to 17 or 19?
Well, 13 to 19.
13 to 19.
But
I should know that.
it's a flexible on either end, depending
Okay.
upon the actor and
So
the
you might have a
characters.
20-year-old.
I might have a 20-year-old
might
and I
have a
might have a
12-year-old.
12-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Depending on if they fit the role or if they're
Yeah.
passionate enough to come and be a part of the process. Because it's intense. It's intense 4 weeks. It's
Yeah.
very demanding of not only the student, but also their families to get them there to all those rehearsals and all.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's a big commitment.
It's a big
Yeah.
commitment. And
Yeah.
it's different than the performing arts high school because it's that. So that was a charter school, correct? Or was that,
No, it's still, I think they're moving in that direction now
Okay.
because the TEA is allowing a lot of restructuring within
Yeah.
every school district. But when I was there, it was still a part of Houston ISD. It was a high school of
Okay.
theirs.
So it's
yes.
a public school.
It was a public school, but
Wow.
we were allowed a lot of freedom, and we had our own fundraising team
Yeah.
that allowed us to grow beyond what HISD could give us.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, so the students there, that was a high school. They were going there daily. They
Right,
were doing other
right.
classes. But they were focusing on performing arts. With these kids here, a lot of them may not have a performing arts necessarily. This is an opportunity for Austin Shakespeare to help train and educate and find kids who might become passionate about these things, right?
Yes.
In a short period of time.
Yes. I love that also about it. Thank you for bringing that up. That is so true. Like we have students from home that are homeschooled. We have students from big high schools in the area, the big 6A high schools. We have students from the little small towns around Austin that come. So yes, we have students from all backgrounds with all experiences. I have students who read and have read every Shakespeare play
Yeah.
and discussed it intensely with so many other people. And I have someone who's never spoken the words, never really looked at them, but is very interested. So yes, we have, not only are they different in age and background, but in their experience with Shakespeare. So that is always fun. It's always fun to, how do we unify them and
Mhm.
bring them all together? It's such, that exercise and collaboration is one of the reasons I think that kids who experience theater will rule the world one of these days because they'll learn how to, get along with others, how to collaborate, how to think, how to meet deadlines, how to do all of the things that you do as an adult in the world, interacting with other human beings. We do that in every rehearsal process for every show.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're changed after the process.
Yeah.
For the better. Yeah.
Yeah. Pause. So
Yeah.
let's think about a parent who's uncertain about, whether they should send their kid, or like, how could a parent can identify if their kid is interested or willing or desirous or good for sending them to try out for this thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's a lot of activities they could do. And when someone's young, you might want to, a parent might want to have them try different things to see what they're interested in. But if they haven't shown a proclivity to theater or acting at all, how might, they think about Austin Shakespeare and Young Shakespeare as an opportunity to try and see if their kid is interested in it?
We tried really hard to create an atmosphere of inclusivity where everybody's abilities are accepted and that everybody is different and has a different skill set or a different talent set that is useful in theater. And that's another thing I love about theater is that theater takes all kinds of people to make theater as the art of theater. It's not about just one person or one type of person. And I hope people would understand that we are trying to reflect what is actually happening in the world and this the big variety of human beings that exist in the world, and their opinions and their experiences are so valuable on the stage because we don't want everybody looking the same. The plays are about people in conflict and struggling with ideas, and they all have different viewpoints, and they're all fighting to get what they need. And the play is not interesting if everybody is the same.
Yeah.
So we want that variety, and we want all the different experiences. And just because you haven't done Shakespeare before, or you haven't been on stage before, doesn't mean you cannot be a part of this process. You can learn during the whole process is a learning experience that allows you to be able to have that performance. So I hope you would consider it. Yeah.
Well, so it's kind of unrelated, but it's similar in going back to the Chalamet thing of how do you think about helping people fall in love with Shakespeare in particular? Because especially at a young age, how do you think that happens? And how can we make it happen more?
That's an interesting way. And I've never really worked with the young ones on this, but I understand they do like Shakespeare. There's something about the stories. They're kind of fairy tale like. There's a magical quality to many of the stories. The characters are archetypes that they understand from other things, or they're derivative of archetypes from their own childhood reading experiences. And so I think that young people, that really young, will understand the stories, maybe not the words in the structure of the language right away, but I think the story of Shakespeare is very clear to them. And then as they grow, the words become important because I'm going to quote Liz Zimmerman here, who I worked with recently this year. Liz, when she talks to young people about Shakespeare, she talks about all that language. It's fun. It's like decoding a mystery. She goes, it's fun. It's like, it's your language, but it's written in a way you have to figure out what it means, that you have to find the secrets. And so they all get very excited. Ooh, what are the secrets that are hidden inside these words? And so I've seen her do that with kids and in a workshop, in a 2020 workshop. And they get very excited about looking at, ooh, what's the secret inside of these words? What words do we know and what words do we not know? And how can we find out the secret meaning of this? And so I think that's one way to hook people into the language. The other way is just to think about it. Technically, 75 to 80% of the words that you experience in the language in Shakespeare's text are all words we still know. We still use all of those words, maybe even more than that. And if you read it line by line, I always have the kids read it line by line for the first time. How many words did you know? Oh, I knew all of those words. Yes, you did. They're just rearranged a little bit. Oh, yes. Yeah. And suddenly it's like, oh, it's not so scary anymore. Yeah, I do know this. It is not completely unknown to me. Yeah.
So you mentioned the 2020 program.
Yes.
Can you walk us through Shakespeare 2020? What is it? How does it work in practice?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What is that program?
Sure.
This is Austin Shakespeare program.
Austin Shakespeare outreach, education outreach. One of the programs that we offer is called our 2020 workshop. And this is a workshop where we, Ann Chickalella, who's the artistic director of Austin Shakespeare, and two or more local professional actors come to your classroom. And the actors perform for you. And Ann leads a discussion about the performance. And then the actors and Ann divide the students into 3 groups and give them pieces of text, and they work with it for a little while, and then they perform for their peers. Each group performs. So by the end of the class, everyone has experienced the words and has had a performance and has said words out loud in front of their peers in a performance-like situation, so that not only have they watched a performance and talked about what the play means or what the scene means, they've also been a part of what it takes to do that. So in 45 minutes, we can do all of that for you. We design it to fit into a regular classroom time period. So we come in, we do all of that, and we try to wind up with a little Q&A at the end, so the kids can ask questions. And
that's what it's 2020.
That's called 2020. That's our 2020.
But it's
workshop.
like what 20 is. What is the 2020?
20 means like 20. Half of it is performance and discussion, and the other half is the kids getting the text and the kids on their feet doing it.
Yeah, and I've done this once in a high school.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, like as one of the actors.
Oh,
and it was great. Like, because I agree, it's an important. I said at the very beginning, the social media slot machine Vegas, which is true. That's one of the principles they use for the shorts. And I noticed a few schools around the country are starting to do the ban on iPhones in the classrooms.
Yes.
And the reason I'm bringing all this up is I think I think a lot about AI and the use of social media and education, and and this whole thing of like what makes us human, in a sense, like what makes us uniquely human. And what's, how can we solve certain education problems that we're noticing? So the AI written essay, the, cheating that is inevitable, just a young person, even I think a good young person will be really tempted to use ChatGPT and AI in ways that maybe their teacher said not to, because it just does everything for them. And it's just like it's just really hard to stop that temptation. And to me, one of the movements forward in good education will be actually kind of hearkening back to old school ways of oral presentations. So my feeling is that everyone should be, like, every educator should be emphasizing oral presentations, performances, just things that, so you could use ChatGPT all you want for this research, but we're going to put you up there for 15 minutes and you're going to have to debate. So like bringing back debate, but like with no notes, you just got to go up there. So to me, that is such and the 2020 seems to fall into that, in the sense of, you can't cheat on this, right? No, you have to read this, and then you're going to go up there and perform. Right. So you can use ChatGPT to help you analyze it. That's fine.
Of course.
You can use this. You could ask other people their opinions. That's fine. But you're going to, at the end of the day, have to interpret in some way, stand on a stage and talk to people, or, perform on some way. So I just, I love the 2020 program. I think it's such a, it needs to be way bigger as a program, because I feel like all education has to have this incorporated much more heavily going forward. Because it's, even with math and science, it's so easy to just punch in and the question and get lots of answers. But the value of you interpreting it in a human way and then putting it outside, learning how to use your mind communication wise, that's very powerful.
And the joy of that, realizing, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do that. That's one of the things I think that ChatGPT and AI may be taking away from education, is challenging the student to figure out these things for themselves. And when they do that, this independence and this love of learning myself, figuring it out my own way, and not having it all done for me. But wow, what a great rush it is to go, oh my gosh, I figured that out. Yeah. I did that. I learned that. I said that. I understood that. Yeah. I get it. It is an amazing thing to see the light bulb go on in a child's mind. And yes, I agree. I think 2020 is wonderful about that. I see that with every time we do it. I see the shy, quiet kid or the kid who's like, I don't really want to do this, suddenly get up and then when it's over, it's like, whoa, what did I just do? What happened? That wasn't so bad. I can't believe I just did that. Yeah. And suddenly they're very active in the discussion and raising their hands. And it's a game changer. I'm with you on that. It is. I think in the classroom. Yeah.
Yeah. I what you said is what I was trying to say. So you said it better. The pride in enjoying the creation of itself. That's what I meant when I was talking about the emphasizing our human side.
Yes.
Is that we now have, I love AI, but I see a lot of the drawbacks that are potential with it and writing. But what it does for me is it enhances my ability to do things I'm not good at. And I really think of it as like a boon for creative people, because it solves problems that my certain side of my brain isn't as good at as some of my peers who are in technology or something.
Right.
And they're more math science based. And I sometimes struggle with that. I actually have, I have an even keel with them and with ChatGPT because I can access that side of the memory brain that they have better than I do. But what I have is this creative side. And I think more of us need to emphasize that aspect of it. And there is a pride in kind of coming together, the integrating the creativity of bringing something that's uniquely you, even if you get it from ChatGPT AI in terms of analysis, interpretation, if you need it to give you the full meter, to give you a definition of every word and all those things, that's great. And then that's fodder to give a more informed performance.
Right.
And that's the more human side. Why I'm so emphasizing more of these kinds of activities for students.
Yeah, I think AI is a great, and ChatGPT, all of those are just great tools for you to be creative, to be better at what you want to do. Yeah, and make yourself richer and better at the things you want to explore rather than just information taking in. It's interesting that these things have appeared at this point in our society when we have been educating or raising our children to be unique individuals. We're all about how are you different? How are you special? Recognizing everybody's special ability. I feel education and child rearing and that sort of thing has focused on that a lot in the past decades, past generations. And how can you retain your individuality if you only use the AI and the technology and you never apply it to your unique situation? So I always think it has to be a tool in that individuality expression.
Yeah.
In whatever form that is. Yeah.
Otherwise you definitely get, the we.
Yeah.
Like everyone sounds like ChatGPT. Exactly. All the writing sounds like that.
Sounds the same.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not super afraid of that in the creative world, to be honest.
No, not in the creative world. Yeah.
I think it enhances it, but but yeah, you're right. Like it has to be something that you consciously do and take effort toward. Right. Otherwise you can fall into that trap.
Sure. Especially the young mind that doesn't know doesn't know the other side of the joy and how wonderful it can be to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
What happens when you struggle. Yeah. And you struggle and you work your way through it. And the pride of excelling is you can't chat GPT that.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. And I think that's the 2020 program and more programs that isolate kids away from technology so that's how you emphasize the training of the brain, of the mind itself in a sense.
Right.
But yeah, I think those are all very important. I hope we do more 2020 programs.
And then yes.
You, I heard you might be willing or able to also offer workshops for teachers. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. We would love to do that. We have not had much interest in that, but I would really like this next year to promote that more, to reach out to teachers with, hey, how can we help bring Shakespeare to life in your classroom? In what ways can we help? Not just in the performance areas and theater programs, but in language arts classes, who are reading in any of those places, we would love to come in and help you do that, and maybe do some sort of professional development for any group at the beginning of the year, or just come in with an individual teacher or a group of teachers from a building. Yeah. And we would love
just
to
like English
do that.
department of
English
some,
department,
and just
or
do a workshop
exactly, or English and theater department combined, or yes, that would be lovely. Or the language arts department in a middle school, or what, it would be great. We would love to do that.
Do you have an idea of what you might cover in a workshop, or have you not thought about that yet?
I haven't thought about that completely, but we would certainly do something I think we would do something along the lines of what we do with 2020.
Okay.
We
Get
would
the teachers on stage.
Yes, they need to experience that, of course.
Yeah.
In the workshop, we would help them understand that. And how can you understand, how can you craft that in your classroom, into your lesson plan, if you haven't experienced what that is?
Teachers are often behind all the time, right? They're always doing, because I was a teacher for a couple of years, and you're always, especially for planning things, you're grading things, you're always kind of, at least I always felt like I was never caught up or ahead.
Right.
That's like a life thing, I guess, on some level, but as a teacher, it feels pretty intense in a lot of ways, because you have kids' education in your hands, in a sense, and you want to make sure that they get here. It's like, no, we're way behind. We gotta,
right.
So like they don't have as much time to pause and train themselves and remind themselves about, oh yeah, this is why I love English.
Right.
And this is why, doing a little bit of taking a moment for the kids to perform, even on my own without the 20, like that is valuable too.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes I forgot it's easy to do.
It is. Yes. I think the teachers remembering that they can perform it and performing it for their students, huge.
Yeah.
I know that in acting class, when I teach acting class, if I do something performative, for them to see that I'm not just having them do something that I would never do. If I perform for them in some way, not all the time, but occasionally, it totally changes the dynamic of my relationship with them and how they perceive what I'm teaching them.
Sure.
It makes a huge difference. And I feel like if we could help teachers feel comfortable with saying the language and getting it, Shakespeare to be heard and spoken by them, then the kids can buy into that a little bit better. So I would love to help them do that. Yeah, very much. I would also like to help them, teachers, deal with all the controversial things in Shakespeare, because I think sometimes we're shying away from it because it's like racism and gender and colonialism and all the things that are in there. Right. It's all in there. Yes, it's all in there. And yes, it should be all in there, and we should be talking about it. Why not use it to launch conversations? Why not put it out there and go, let's talk about what's going on here. Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than not even talking about it
at all.
And then people are shocked later in life or something when it's like, people thought this way. It's like, yeah, if you would have read Shakespeare, people did think of these ways. And I agree, it's a really profound value of literature in general. It's just to see the progression of thought that led to where we are today, where we are more enlightened, because we've gone through this.
Right.
And, when you see like some of the best minds at that time having misogynistic, racist ideas, you're like, how could someone so smart think this? But they did. And it's really important, I think, to confront that.
And we still hear these words today.
And they're still existing
And this is
today.
the thing, is that I think there's something to be said about some of the things that for example, I'm looking at in Merchant of Venice. There's some things that are being said in Merchant of Venice, and we're going to talk about where are we still hearing this?
Yeah.
Where is this?
Especially that one in particular.
Yes, it's like these things, they are still being spoken today, right? And we can't ignore them. Yeah. Why would we ignore them? We can't, let's not talk about them. I think I'm with you. I think it's a wonderful way to really engage your students in what's current.
Yeah.
That Shakespeare is still offering currency in the 21st century.
Yeah.
So I'd like to help them understand that. I'd love to bring some of those things to light and help teachers do that for their students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I forgot, before we move on to, I wanted to talk about Fast Hamlet. But first, so you've always, and Young Shakespeare has always been at the Curtain Theater.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Oh.
Was awesome. one, so the Curtain Theater was a replica of Shakespeare's Globe here in Austin. I don't know if they've torn it down yet or if they've explained the plans yet, but we and nobody has access to it at the moment, and it probably is going away forever.
That's correct.
So that's sad because kids did get to experience being on stage in a similar way that actually Shakespeare did. Now, the flip side of that is that you and Anne have found a new theater.
Yes.
And one positive, I'll let you talk about the theater, but one positive is it is easier to get to.
Yes.
So the Curtain Theater was a bit of a drive and a bit out of the way for a lot of people. We still packed those rafters most of the times for Young Shakespeare. And I actually performed Romeo and Juliet there.
That's right. Yeah.
I played the prince. But yeah, tell us about this new place. Tell us a little bit about, what the theater is and what's good about it. And yeah.
Great. Well, I haven't actually been in it yet, other to look at it.
Well,
I've been there to look at it. I've actually been there, but I haven't rehearsed in it or used the theater or seen a performance there. I'm going to try to see a performance pretty soon in there before we actually go in to rehearse in it.
What is it?
It is the Austin Scottish Rite Theater, which is actually surrounded by the UT campus. And I'm thrilled that this is our space.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful, grand old dame of a theater, of a building. She's a gorgeous building. Every little part of her is lovely. I'm very excited with the way the audience will experience this. And I'm really excited the way the students are going to experience this different kind of theater, this kind of theater of the late 1800s, the way that the theater is set up. And it has some beautiful things that are original to the theater. All the flooring and the moldings and all those beautiful things. And it also has some backdrops, a series of backdrops that have been there, I believe, since for a very long time, at least from the early 20th century. And they're ancient, beautiful, gorgeous backdrops, a series of what I call wing and drop sets, which are side pieces that come in with a curtain across the top that create a forest, but and a backdrop at the back that create this 3D forest effect or 3D building, so that you get the sense of depth. And on the stage, they're really beautiful. So I'm very excited to do that. It's a cool space, and also has a really deep, I guess what we call an orchestra pit now. Okay. It's big and open down there, and so I think we're gonna put seating there and also use it for the canals of Venice. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. So
nice.
we're gonna try some things. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So no, I'm very excited about the building. I'm very excited that it is so locally. It is so centrally located, and that the students can access it and the families can get to it a little bit more easily. And that maybe we will pack it to the rafters, up into the balcony. We hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I moved here in November 2020 to Austin, right in the height of COVID. The first group event I did was that summer, which Young Shakespeare in the park. I'm pretty sure it was that summer, and it was at the Curtain Theater, and I got together a bunch of people that I knew here in Austin. And I think there were 22 or 24 of us that went. I don't remember the play anymore at that time. And I remember that when we were talking about it afterwards, I told them, yeah, that was Young Shakespeare. They're like, what do you mean? They had no idea it was a Young Shakespeare. They just thought it was Shakespeare, right? They had no idea. Because these were not theater people generally. I mean, there's some teachers from UT and some just a lot of tech friends of mine.
Right.
And they just thought of it as Shakespeare, they had no idea it was Young Shakespeare, it was specifically 13 to 19-year-olds. So the reason I say that is just I hope to encourage people to go see it.
Yes,
even
please.
Just to see, as an opportunity to see Merchant of Venice. It's not just a, youthful, fun, program. It's a professional level program, I think.
I think so too. I mean, Anne Chickalilla does wonderful things with it by bringing in professional designers. We work with to design the show and give design support. We have a professional stage manager that comes. She also Anne is also a professional director and also gives great guidance and supports the program fully. And also Anne brings in local professional actors to come and work with our actors.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we have very polished, strong performances, and that anybody could enjoy. If any age level, I believe, could enjoy these plays. We just do a shortened version of them. We don't change the text hardly at all. We just take some of it out because we have such a short rehearsal period time, and we just have to shorten it for that. But I challenge the students to hold to the text as true as we can.
Yeah.
So as truthfully as we can. And they like that.
Yeah.
They enjoy that. They feel a great sense of accomplishment when they do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always just say, like, as a challenge to people in Austin or to anybody wherever you are in the world, especially if there's a local theater,
right?
Like, I run some book clubs, mostly online. I run things to help encourage people to read, like the Literary Canon Club is what I call it. And one thing I always emphasize is, like, if you have a local community like this, local Shakespeare company, it's a great excuse to read that play yourself. It gives you something to read, and then maybe even watch a movie of it, and then go to see the performance. Because, and I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because especially if you frame your reading around that, if you're thinking about, like, what should I read? This gives you motivation and excuse to go read something that you normally wouldn't read. So go get a Norton or whatever version of Much Ado, which we have coming up, and Merchant of Venice, and read the plays. They're not actually that long. Go watch a movie version of them and then go to the play. And now you have different interpretations, and it enhances your understanding of it. And you've now read 2 plays in a year.
Yes.
You've read 2 of the greatest works of literary art in the world. So it's just a great way to, not only get involved, but to push yourself into experiencing, literature and art a little bit more.
And surprise yourself by reading the play and then seeing it in performance. Like, oh, that's what that is.
Well, that too. So yeah.
I always love that too.
Yeah,
like some people, they said, I read this, but I didn't realize that's what it meant.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah. So, or it could be interpreted that way. And that's the other thing, by looking at, something online, like a movie version of something, and then seeing a live performance, like, to see the different interpretations is fascinating. It's so fun. I love that. I think that's very fun to talk about them and see how people interpret. And what context they put the play into, because these plays can be moved to different time periods and have different social contexts around them. So
yeah. So I do want to make sure we talk about world's fastest Hamlet.
Okay, sure.
Because we're talking about the world's fastest Hamlet, do you have a world's just best movie Hamlet version that you like?
Oh,
just out of curiosity.
Oh. There's so many. I do like several of them. I do love the Kenneth Branagh. I mean, if you want
That's
to see
my favorite,
if you want to see all of it, he did all of it.
Which is the opposite of World's Fastest.
Right, which is totally the opposite.
Although he does talk fast sometimes, because he's still trying to get it under 17 hours. I think it's 4 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's very long. Yes. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. I like, there's an Olivier one that I like too, Laurence Olivier version that I enjoy very much. Yes. And there's some performances from the Royal Shakespeare and from the National Theatre in Great Britain that I enjoy, that are filmed performances. But that's another play that can be interpreted in all sorts of contexts. So it's very fun to see what people do with it. Yes, a lot of range on that one. Yes. And I think there's a current one right now that's running that's even in a whole different world that I never even thought. Hamlet like that. Now I can't even remember what it was. I'd have to look it up again, because it threw me off for a second. But it can be done that way. Yes, it can. Yeah. And how many different stories have had a lot of those themes and those types of characters in them? That it's one of the plays that have so much drawn from into other works. So film and opera, etc. So it's
I think he invented a new character in literature with Hamlet.
Yes.
I don't think there was that kind of intellectual, introspective heroes challenging himself on how action he should take or not. And I think that's pretty new in general.
Yeah.
So anybody like that afterwards is basically an echo of Hamlet, in some way. At least goes like that's the father of that.
The father of that.
Of that kind of that kind of
exactly
thing.
Yes.
So let's talk about World's Fastest Shakespeare.
Well,
what is
one
that?
of the offerings that we do for our education outreach is called the World's Fastest Hamlet. And we have 4 actors that play all the characters, and we do cover the entire story of Hamlet, and they perform them as quickly as possible. Sometimes they are the characters. Sometimes they are just voicing the characters with a finger puppet or something like that.
Behind a screen or something.
Or behind a screen, or they just have a finger puppet, or they put up a big giant head and talk, and they have the voice of that head. So we have a lot of fun with it because it's so fast. It's so fun. And we do it in 15 minutes. And then we do it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we do it in like 20 seconds.
20 seconds. So it's 20 minutes total, basically, right?
Yeah, it's very fast. And then, of course, we have a lovely discussion afterwards with our audience. Yes. So it's quick and fast. So again, designed to fit in your classroom experience, with your classroom time.
I saw it at the Long Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know that you do it. I've never seen that at the class, but yeah, that's great to see, like at a school.
Yes,
to see it performed for a bunch of classes or something.
It would be great. We would love to come and do it for you. We could do it in your classroom. We can do it in a theater. We can do it in a cafetorium. We can do it in a black box. We can do it in a flex space. What do they call those multi-purpose spaces? I think that some schools have. We can do it in those spaces. Yeah. We bring everything we need. We just need some place to kind of hide behind. And that could be one place I was thinking of is that they had, we were considering going there, and I went to look at it, and they had cafeteria tables that folded up real high. And I said, we can just push those together. We'll just run around behind those. So we will use what you have.
Yeah,
we will figure, that's the cool thing about this, is that it's very flexible. And it's all on the actors and the few props that we have and the little quick costume changes. So
yeah, the actors are great.
They are.
I mean, because I understood what was going on when I saw it. I was like, wow.
Yes, you will understand the story.
Yeah, and I remember I went to I've gone to the Renaissance Fair here.
Yes.
Have you been to this before?
I have not been to this one. No.
Really? It's right here. You got to go.
Yeah, I know.
One more weekend. I'll probably be there this Sunday.
Oh, okay.
But because that's the closing day.
The closing one.
But they have like and I'm trying to remember the name of the troupe. But they have a troupe and they do fast Shakespeare, not Hamlet. They do, I think they do Midsummer's Night Dream.
Okay.
And they do it very fast and it's fun. And they get like every one of their shows are, it's not like hundreds of seating, but there's like benches in front of it and they're on a little stage. But they get sold out. Not sold out, but just packed pretty much every time. It's like people are sitting there and they're having a lot of fun.
Yes.
So I think the fast Shakespeare in general is a great opportunity to introduce people and get them to fall in love, to be intrigued by, that's interesting. I'd love to learn a little bit more, experience more. And, the understanding is a big part of the experience.
It is.
Especially today, because we are separated by a couple hundred years. So,
yes, we are. Yes.
It doesn't
we
come
like
as
things
natural.
in really fast little tidbits. And
yeah.
So this is one way to either introduce your students to Hamlet or to expand their, they can see it in a different light. We can come to, and I think this particular performance is great for younger students as well as high school students. I think that everybody would enjoy this. It fits a wide variety of age groups.
Other programs I'm forgetting. Informances. What's an informant?
An informant is when Austin Shakespeare's main stage show that's done at the Long Center at the Rawlings, usually in the spring, they usually do a Shakespeare. This year it was Macbeth. We have a student performance that are just for students during the school day, and we invite schools to bring students in to see the performance. And it's a shortened performance. It's an hour-long performance.
Okay.
And we follow it with a 10-minute discussion, Q&A afterwards, where Anne asks questions of the students and the students ask questions of the actors. The actors come out and have a conversation with the students. And so this year we had such an interest in Macbeth that we actually booked a second performance. We did 2 student performances in one day.
No, they're popular.
They're popular.
Once people see it, the kids see it, they love it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It is a great way. Again, it's not like the world's fastest Hamlet, but it is a digestible 1-hour version of the play where you get the main plot and the main characters, and you get the experience. The students get the experience of being able to talk with them about their performance, about attacking the script, about the challenges of it. So it's a really fun day, a very fun day. I was amazed. This was my first experience with it this last year. Yeah. And I was like, wow, these kids really loved that. Every audience was so connected to it. So yeah, I liked it.
So have I got all the programs for education, Austin Shakespeare?
Yes, I believe you have. Yes.
So I thought we could close, a couple questions. I want to bring it back to the value of theater.
Okay.
What's good about it. So we have all these programs that are available for high school students, for junior high students, I think as well.
Yes, we do middle school, usually 5th grade.
5th grade and up.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, lots of programs. Shakespeare's no longer in public school, right? Is that true? Or something like
I think it is.
It is in school?
I think some teachers include it in their curriculum.
Okay, but it's not required.
It is. I don't think they have to require
That's
it anymore.
what it is.
I think that at one point it was required. Everybody, when you were a freshman, read Romeo and Juliet, and then you read Hamlet, and whatever. Yeah. So I think those were required at one point, but I don't think the requirement is there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Austin Shakespeare has, besides the Shakespeare in the Park, which they've done this is our 40th year of doing that.
Yes.
Besides other plays, The Bard is only the beginning as the idea behind Austin Shakespeare.
Yes.
There's all kinds of education programs to help people help their kids fall in love with Shakespeare and theater in general.
Yes.
There's a lot of great theater in Austin. So there's a lot of great theater in Austin. So make sure to explore all the different worlds. It's a great way to check out Esther's Folly is one of my favorites, but Zach always has great theater, shows. Long Center has great shows.
They do.
There's just so many shows to, walk around. Even smaller, companies, I think like Walking Shakespeare is one that I saw recently that was really good. So just a lot of stuff. So, explore it, use it as an opportunity to explore Austin more. There's great dining. People, I guess, like the comedy scene now.
Yes.
But there's a theater scene too.
Yes.
And so I wanted to close first, before I close this way, this might be spoilers for a movie. Have you seen the movie Hamlet or read the book?
I did.
Okay. Because I think that really, so this is spoilers. If you have not seen it, then we can end now for those who have not seen it.
Yes, you can. Yes.
But because that to me had such a powerful demonstration. I just started reading the book. I saw the movie, and I've done some videos on the movie on my channel with a Hamlet actor, actually.
Oh, wow.
Mark Pellegrino. He's also a TV actor.
Yes.
And he and I and a couple other people talked about Hamlet, and I talked to him about Hamlet. But that movie has such a beautiful demonstration of the deep value of really literary art, but particularly theater.
Yes.
With a real strong emphasis on theater.
Yes.
So that goes back to this idea of, how people don't really care about it, but yet there's that Timothée Chalamet said, but yet there's something very profoundly individualistically human about it.
Yes.
So I just wanted to, I have a few things to say about that, but I was curious if you had any thoughts on Hamlet and the value of theater in closing that might, come to mind.
Hamlet is a very hard book to read, but beautiful book. And I think that Chloe Zhao did an incredible job bringing it to life in the film.
Yeah.
It is one of those things that when you watch it in the movie theater with everyone around you, something powerful happened.
Yeah.
That
was a famous meme.
Yes.
I don't know if talking about social media.
I don't know what the meme is.
We're talking about social media. Because I do watch social media. It's just like, it's like a before Hamlet, after Hamlet. And they're everyone's dying. Crying.
Yeah. It's a powerful experience that you have. And, but what it did to me is that it brought, again, it kind of shed a light on a part of our art world that sometimes doesn't get the light shed on it, the world of theater. Not musical theater so much, which gets a lot of support and attention, but plays, just plays. And the power of a play, and where playwrights get their idea, and the power of writing a play, and where playwrights get their ideas, and how it is so human. It's so connected to the human experience. And everything a playwright writes about comes from some personal experience. And we see that. It's kind of, I get this idea of about a picture frame. So here's the story that the playwright has given us. And we have to we take our own personal experiences and we step through the frame of that experience. And we are not the same because these two things have merged as we have gone through the framework of that story that this playwright has created for us. And we brought our own, and I feel like we also leave a little bit of ourselves behind for the playwright. I'm thinking that now, not Shakespeare, of course, because he's gone, but that whoever wrote that screenplay and whoever, and Chloe Zhao, who directed it, and I feel like she had a lot to do with the writing of it. I feel like it extracted.
Oh, and Chloe.
And Chloe. They both wrote it. Yeah. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Maggie and Chloe.
And Chloe
both,
together wrote it. Yeah.
But it looks like Chloe has the main
writing, the credits on it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think. But yeah, so it's written by both of them.
By both of them, that they both somehow are affected by how the audience responded to that. And it'll affect the work that they do from now on. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and that's what's important. Then they're going to be making the decisions that Timothée Chalamet is talking about. What are we going to put in the theaters next? Whoever thought a film like this would have that impact? It's not the kind of film. It's not an Oppenheimer or a Barbie. This is something
or a Marvel.
Or a Marvel. Yeah. It's not. It's
something very different.
It's something very different, but extremely powerful and affected so many people.
Yeah.
It can be done.
It spoke to an audience. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question of trying to find how to actually speak to audiences.
Yes.
And this is always my challenge whenever I get a chance to talk to Austin theater people in particular. It's a difficult one to confront, but this is the reality. And so this is a challenge for anybody who's listened this long, is Austin has changed over the last 10, 15 years dramatically.
Oh my gosh.
One of the ways that it's changed, whether you like it or not, is a massive influx of tech workers, right?
Right.
They're not going to the theater. They're going to comedy. Why? So they're going to stand up where the guy or girl is going up there and doing a live performance.
Right.
But they're not going to your theater for easier to get access to, right? Down. These are smart people in many ways. And I don't want to get into politics, but there is a weird political thing there, I think, happening. But to me, my challenge for theater people, because, tech people, I think, are a little more right, it sounds like. And that's what my view, my understanding of it. But what I love about theater, wherever you are politically, is the ability to speak to humans generally and just be able to speak to the human side of them. So the challenge is, how can the theater community actually attract, all these tech people who are here? There's tens of thousands of them that have moved here, and they very rarely go, I don't think as a class, they go to theater. And they do tend to be the kind of, because I know a lot of these people, they tend to be the kind of individual, like the hyper individual, just at their home, in front of their TV, in front of video games, in front of a computer. That's who they are. They're not as much communal, but I think they need the communal massively. Like they really need it. And they go to, they definitely do the stand-up thing. But to me, it's such an interesting question of how do there's a whole new class of individual.
Sure.
I feel like people aren't even thinking about them because they don't like them. Maybe. I think that's part of it. That's my impression when I've talked to people, is they're like, they don't think of them as worthwhile, but it's like, that's your community now.
Right.
So how can we figure out how to do that? I don't know if it's like, have a play that's part stand-up, or I don't know what it is. That seems to be a little too much, but just it's a question to think about.
It is a question to think about. It is. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'd need to know more about them, about their interests and where they come from. I think
But that means confronting that, right? Which you may not like sometimes.
No, right.
Not you, but people.
I think Timothée Chalamet's made a point by saying
brought him up.
that we need to think about how we draw the audience into get butts and seats. Butts and seats. And it's very important. Movies, theater, ballet, opera. Yes. How can we attract the audience that exists now? Because people have evolved with technology and all of these other things that we've been talking about. And how do we find out about them more? Maybe Netflix is gone a little too far on that.
Yeah.
Like in 7 seconds, they're going to look at your phone if you don't have this in the plot.
Well, but that's because they're by themselves.
They're by themselves. Right.
Versus in public, they're not doing that.
But
so it's a different kind of feedback.
Right. It's just gathering the feedback is what I'm saying. How do we get that feedback? How do we get the information so that we can make some choices, some decisions, and bring a format of art, of our art, that is interesting to this particular group of people. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've always thought Esther's Follies does a pretty good job of that. Actually.
Oh my gosh, they're fun.
Yeah,
they're very.
They always mention everybody.
They do.
They have magic. Do they still have? Because I haven't seen them since.
Yes. No. I took. I need to go back. I took some friends of ours from out of town not too long ago and loved it. There's
still a magician.
It's still a magician.
Because he retired, I think the one that was there for 30 years. Or something.
I don't know who this guy is, but he's amazing.
Okay.
He does incredible things.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
And makes fun of audience members and all the other stuff.
Oh man.
He's very fun.
Scares me.
He's very fun. He's very, very fun.
But yeah, I always thought they were really good at focusing on who's actually there. Mm-hmm. They make fun of everybody.
Yeah.
Like an SNL kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So any last concluding thoughts before we, wrapping up here?
Oh my goodness. We've talked about a lot of things. I don't know. Maybe I need to stop talking.
No, it's fine.
No, thank you for having me. And thank you for asking really important questions about what we're doing with Austin Shakespeare. And I guess we're here for you. We're here for you.
Yeah.
We love what we do, and we'd like to bring what we do, what we love to your classroom. So call us, connect with us on our website, Austin Shakespeare. And I'd love to talk with you. I'd love to have a conversation with you, have an email exchange with you, to see how we can help you. So thank you, Kirk.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being here.